In this video, we're going to look at the volunteering, specifically teams and positions, and how those are created. This is an event that we've just turned on, so it is essentially blank and empty. You can see we have 0 volunteers at the moment. So we are going to look at this list edit create for the teams and positions. Now remember, the positions, as we look at them here, can be anything like marshals, controls, timing guys, the 0 car, and then we use just a number to group them into teams. So this is most common to see right here, just team, this is all of stage team A, but we can also have, here's a team that is all of the course cars, and here is a team that is all of the officials. So mostly we think of teams when it comes to the stages, and the rest of them are just positions. So the teams are grouped positions. So if we look at just each piece of this, if we click on one of these, it will fill this in, or we can create a new one from scratch. So if we said the stage team A marshals right here. So here we are, it's team 10. That's just to group it with this other people right here. And sort order 3, that means that just within this group, within this bunch, we're going to have it be number 3. It doesn't do anything else other than that. And then here's the name. Here's how many people we need. I need 10 people as marshals. And then we have, is this part of the volunteer, what we call just the troops? And everyone that is, out on the stages, we check yes for this. This just helps with some of our statistics later on. And then we ask, is this a course car or sweep? These guys are not. And is it a position of officials? And these guys are not. These 3 right here help with just those statistics, but this piece right here does determine on our assigning, when we're assigning volunteers, whether this group will show up on this side. On the left side, what we do is we put all the troops are on the left side, because there's usually a pretty big a bunch of them, and then everybody else, officials, radios, training, shakedown, they're over here on the right side. And it turns out that those 2 end up being about the same. So it's really just to break it into 2 groups. So again, back to edit teams. If we wanted to create a new team, rather a new position here on number 4, we could say, here's number 10, and it's going to be sort order, well, we could say 5 or 8. It doesn't really matter. We could call it stage team A, VIP bus driver. And we need 1 person for that. And they're going to be out in the field. So create that position. And then we have right here, we've put them in. So there's our new, and now we can assign people to that. And to delete them, we can just click right there. And now they're gone. So we can edit the ones we have, or create new ones. And we can also often sort of like semi-clone this stuff. So if we want to say, oh, I've got these control guys, and I want to say, oh, but I want to make specifically controls for the finish, I can either do update, which just is, updating that, or create a new position from this. So if I do this, you can see I now have, there's control and control finish. Now they're sorted, with the same number. So that's, we could fix that by doing that, re-editing some of them. So this is how we make these groups, and the way to really think about it is the most common thing is to say we'll take this stage team A captain, and we'll usually put the stage name that they are working on, And that will let you know as you are assigning these people, yeah, stage team A is the Perkele stage. And so then, when I was looking here at who am I going to assign, oh, I need to put someone here, and you know that you're putting that on that stage. So generally, stage team captains and anyone else, I mean, you could make them all say the name of the stages, but we usually have a situation where each team is doing multiple stages. They might do 1, 3, and 7, and on day 2 they're doing stage 12 and 18. So it's sometimes crazy to have a list that goes way out to the side. Now, another thing that we can do is we can use this to manage. These are the standard teams that show up when you just open an event. So naturally, it's the stuff that you'd be used to seeing out on stage. And then we have the standard course cars, and then radio people for that. And then some pretty standard officials, stewards, scrutineering. We also, we want to keep up with who's doing the scoring so that we don't forget to assign people to that. Who's doing registration, who's going to be setting up the award ceremony, and shakedown. We want to keep track of that. Medical people, who's assigned as media, and often, the rally has to manage some lodging for some of the volunteers as well. So that is one thing that we often have to do is take care of who's getting assigned to that. So this is what we have for each of the teams themselves. Some of them, if we're doing these t-shirt calculations, these statistics, we can set which teams are included. I mean, normally it defaults to everybody, but you're probably not giving the guys t-shirts if they're registered media. And maybe the tulip checking crew is actually before. I mean, who knows? It depends on your rally, how things are working out. But whatever you set here, you can update this, and then when we do these later statistics over here, it only includes the teams that have people assigned to it. We can set certain teams printable, which means some of these teams will be huge, and we usually print out each person's, everyone else on the team, all their phone numbers. So sometimes we might say, okay, we're only going to print out the control guys and the captain, and that's who gets phone numbers printed for each volunteer. We can do that. Allowing the captains to email the teams, we can do that. We can also cloak experience. What this means is in the sign up on the other end, for the users, we can say that this is a standard list that is in all of the events. And we're like, okay, well, maybe we're not interested in having anyone do like volunteer video shooting. Okay, so now that's hidden. And maybe registered media, maybe we're full. We've got everybody that we need, and so we don't need anyone else to be asking to do registered media. So you can hide whichever ones you don't want to use. The two most common are video shooters and remote data entry. We don't do a lot of remote data entry anymore, so it's common to cloak that. And that is essentially what we have for teams and positions. Now, going along with each team is this idea of having the meeting notes. So right now, the meeting notes for all of these are empty because we have just created this rally. But what you have is that for each group, we can set a list of information that they are going to get. I'm just going to switch to another rally that has some information for these. So in the meeting notes themselves, so here it is. It's saying that if you are doing, control and timing, here is the information that you need. And you can make this as long as you want, or it can be very short. And generally this gets printed out with, for the volunteers as they show up, but they can also see it in their account before they get started. So this is what it looks like for them. and we can actually do here a meetup message, and it's just editing, just in a a normal text box. We can make it a little bit bigger if we want more room. Sometimes we have stuff that is repeated. It's pretty common. You'd say, here's the general volunteer meeting. So what we can actually do is we can make a macro for that. We can say general meeting, and then we can say meet us at the restaurant on Main Street. Okay, and then update macro. And then, so now that we have this macro here, general meeting, it's like a mail merge. And so within the meetup messages themselves, if we just put in like general meeting like that, it would add that information. So that lets us put this in this one, and this one, and then if something changes, we can change it just in one place. We can change it back in the macro itself, back there. And that lets us make sure that we don't miss anybody. So as far as team positions and meetup messages, that's pretty much the whole story.